Hey there, homeowners. Are you thinking about selling your home? You might think you know everything there is to know, but what if I told you that some of the most common advice out there could actually cost you tens of thousands of dollars? That's right. Today, I'm going to bust 10 popular myths about selling your home that could save you a lot of money and stress. So let's dive in and separate fact from fiction. Do you think you know everything about selling your home? I mean, I have so many sellers who tell me all these things, all these myths about selling their home. And I'm like, okay, that's not true. And that's not true. Or that's not true. If you do any of these things before you get your home ready to sell, you could be costing yourself tens of thousands of dollars. Now, I'm serious. These are things I'm sure you've heard of that you should not be doing and are not true. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to start out easy. Myth number 1, spring is the best time to sell. But the reality is that nowadays, the best time to sell is when you're ready. And I know many people think you shouldn't sell in the fall or the winter because there's, nobody looking. Well, so many people think that you shouldn't sell in the fall and winter. That means there's less inventory out there. And I'll tell you, there are always people looking for a home. Now, if there's no inventory and you're the only game in town, there are people who will be interested in that. So do not wait until the spring because that is what you've heard. Myth number 2, renovating will increase your home's value. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a house and sellers are like, okay, well, I just remodeled the kitchen and I'm looking at the kitchen. I'm like, okay, well, the kitchen looks great, but this layout is horrible or the location is terrible. So renovating doesn't always get you the most amount of money. You have to understand and be realistic. Is there something in your home that would make it a reason somebody might not want to buy it? Many of you have lived in your home for so many years and you think it's a great home. You love it. You love the layout. You love the way it looks and the location doesn't bother you. All of that. But you have to understand that your house is being put out to a target market, and there are a lot of things that buyers want that you would not know because you're not their target market. So if you're thinking about renovating your home because you think you have to, because buyers want a fresh, updated, move-in ready home, that's not always true. My suggestion is to always have a conversation with your real estate agent first before making any renovations, particularly large renovations. If your goal is to sell your home and make the most amount of money, you don't want to put in too much money on updates that you're not going to get back. At that point, you've basically over-improved your house. The number 3 myth is buyers always want a deal. Now, that's not always true. When I talk about this to sellers, they don't really believe it because they don't realize that buyers want what they want. They're willing to pay up if it has exactly what they want. If you're thinking buyers always want a deal and they're always going to come in low with their offer or they're always going to try and get the price down, that's not always true. If a buyer finds a home that they've been looking for and it's perfect for them, they're going to pull the trigger and they may even offer more than asking for the house if it's priced correctly. And myth number 4 ties into this. Price your home high for negotiation purposes. This is a really, really bad idea. I've had sellers who basically project how they would purchase a home or how they would make an offer on a home, and they say, well, I would just come in low and then I would negotiate down the price. But that doesn't really work. And part of the reason it doesn't work is because people who come in with a low bid when your price is really high, they're the hardest people to work with, in my experience. They're the people that typically think you're desperate. They're the people that typically bring up a lot of issues in the inspection. So your goal is to price the home right above, like a little tiny bit above or below market value or appraised value. Be sure to talk with your real estate agent on where exactly to price it. It's a strategy. The worst thing you can do is overprice your home. So bottom line, you do not want to price your home too high because those buyers who come in and lowball you are not the ones you want to work with. You want to work with the buyers that are willing to pay asking price or more because the house is exactly what they're looking for. The number 5 myth: all real estate agents are the same. Now, I know for some people, agents are a necessary evil. And I say that because you don't necessarily want to pay somebody to sell your home. I get that. I totally understand that. But selling a home is a bigger deal than a lot of people understand. First of all, it can be very traumatic. I mean, there's a lot to getting your home ready to sell. There's an art, there's a science, and there's a strategy. Interview with at least 3 agents. If you are just choosing a real estate agent because you know them from church or something like that, you really could be making a huge mistake and leaving a lot of money on the table. Real estate agents are not all the same. They operate completely differently from each other. They may give different advice, but the reality is that the wrong agent might give you advice that could cost you a lot of money in the long run. So myth number 6. Open houses don't work. Now, there are so many people who are torn on open houses. They can really be a pain for you as the homeowner, but the market is changing where open houses are becoming more valuable. And that's because of the whole buyer agency agreement requirement that we have right now. More often, buyers are going directly to the listing agent to view a home, so the listing agents are providing more open houses. So you actually may get more buyers right now who are coming unrepresented to an open house. There may not be a consensus on whether or not open houses really work, but they're not going to hurt you. The only problem with open houses, in my opinion, is it's an inconvenience for you, and I understand that. Myth number 7. Zestimates are important. All right, so if you don't know what a Zestimate is, it's Zillow's automated value. And I swear I often talk to people who live and die by this. I mean, they're watching it every day. So the way Zillow works is it takes all the homes in the area with all the numbers, like the square footage, the bedrooms, all this stuff that are apples to apples, and they kind of put it all together as being sold or active. And then they come up with this number that your house is worth. Now, I do use Zestimate when I'm like, okay, so what number does the seller think the home is going to be worth? Because most likely they've gone and looked at Zestimate for themselves. But what the Zestimate does not take into account is the condition of a home. Recent renovations or upgrades, unique features like finished basements, the quality of the layout, or specific details like flooring or countertop materials. And so going back to what I talked about earlier, an updated home could get you more money. But if you're in a fantastic location where homes rarely come on the market and your home is not updated, somebody may pay you a premium, and Zillow cannot tell you that. So I would take the Zestimates kind of just as a rule of thumb, guideline for you to kind of say, okay, I'm going to be possibly somewhere above this estimate number, or I'm going to be below it. The only way you can really know is by having an agent tell you specifically what they think the home is worth. Myth number 8. You should never accept your first offer because another one might be coming in. Now, there's a saying, your first offer is your best offer. Do I think that's true? Well, in my experience, typically it is. And the reason why is because the person who puts in their first offer is usually the one who wants the home the most. Early offers indicate strong interest. So if you price correctly, that offer is usually going to be around list price or maybe even above. The problem in turning down your first offer, maybe the buyer only gives you 12 hours to accept their offer, but the problem is that you may not get any other offers. Maybe you've underpriced your home a little bit and you're thinking you're going to get multiple offers and then it doesn't happen. And let's say you're on the market for a day or two and you get a list price offer. Now that can be really challenging. So depending on what the market is doing at that time, I might say to my seller, we should take the offer because we haven't gotten enough showings. We don't have enough people coming in, or we're not getting good feedback, or the opposite could be true and we end up with a couple offers to choose from, which would be great for the seller to be able to choose. But it's not always the case. So while the myth is that you should never accept your first offer, the reality is that it really is probably your best offer. Yes, it's risky. Myth number 9, selling your home as is will make you more money and is easier for you. If you want to sell your home as is, that's fine. Everybody wants to sell their home as is. But if you tell your agent, we're not going to do any work after the inspection, buyers are often going to look at that and be like, there's something wrong with the home, and they don't want to address it. I mean, it's just a red flag. So what I do is I know a lot of people want to sell their home as is, but I don't say that. I say, you know what? Let's see if we can negotiate it into the deal. And so that's a negotiation strategy where I might be talking to the buyer's agent saying, listen, at this price, they're not going to do any work. So we really need you to take it as is. And that's the goal. The problem in saying that up front, you really truly might be losing potential buyers coming in to look at the home. All right. So moving on to myth number 10, you have to professionally stage your home. Now, professionally staging means, furniture and bringing stuff in and paying a lot of money. That's not true. Staging really doesn't mean that. Staging means you're cleaning up, you're decluttering, you're maybe buying a few accessories that could liven up the home. You may go out and buy a small new rug, some greenery, or some simple home decor from Home Goods or from Target, someplace like that. It's going to be worth it for you to do this, but your agent can advise you on how to stage. They should be able to guide you through this. All right, I hope these myth-busting insights have given you a new perspective on what really goes into selling your home successfully. Remember, understanding the realities of the market and working with the right real estate agent can make all the difference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more real estate tips, and share your experiences or questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy selling.